Hello, my name is Jinzu and I'm reading Master Dōgen's Shōbōgenzō. And we have reached chapter 25, Jinzu, Mystical Power. That's exciting. Jin means mystical and Zu, which is a corruption of Tsu, means ability or power. So Jinzu means mystical power. It is said in Buddhism that a person who has attained the truth may have certain kinds of mystical power, but many Buddhists invented fantastical exaggerations of these powers. Master Dōgen did not affirm such exaggerations. He affirmed the existence of Buddhist mystical powers, which we can get when we become Buddhas, but he thought that in the case of Buddhist mystical powers, mystical means not supernatural but real. Master Dōgen thought that Buddhist mystical powers are the abilities we use in our usual life. When asked what Buddhist mystical powers are, an old Chinese Buddhist replied, fetching water and carrying firewood. Okay, let me just throw my top on. Oh, a bit chilly. And let's get into it. Mystical power, as it is the tea and meals of Buddhists, and the Buddhas, to the present, have not tired of it. In it, there are 6 mystical powers, and there is the one mystical power. There is the state of being without mystical power, and there is supremely ascendant mystical power. Its embodiment is 3,000 acts in the morning and 800 acts in the evening. It arises together with Buddha, but it is not recognized by Buddha. It vanishes together with Buddha, but does not break Buddha. In ascending to the heavens, Buddha and mystical power are the same state. In descending from the heavens, they are the same state. In doing training and getting experience, they are always the same state. They are one with the snow mountains. They are as trees and rocks. The Buddhas of the past are the disciples of Shakyamuni Buddha, to whom they come holding aloft the Kaseya and come holding aloft stupas. At such time, Shakyamuni Buddha says, the mystical powers of the Buddhas are unthinkable. Thus, clearly, the Buddhas of the present and future too are also like this. Zen Master Dai is the 37th patriarch in the line of direct descendant from Shakyamuni Tathagata and is the Dharma successor of Hyakujo Daiichi. The many Buddhist patriarchs of today who have flourished in the 10 directions, even those who are not the distant descendants of Dai, are just the distant descendants of Dai. Once, while Dai is lying down, Kozan comes to see him. Dai just then turns so that he is lying facing the wall. Kyozen says, Ijaku is the master's disciple. Do not show him your backside. Dai gets set to rise. Kyozen by then is leaving, but Dai calls him, Disciple Jaku. Kyozen comes back. Dai says, Let this old monk tell you his dream. Kyozen lowers his head, ready to listen. Dai says, See if you can divine the dream for me. Kyozen fetches a bowl of water and a towel. Dai, by and by, washes his face. After washing his face, he sits for a short while, and then Kyogen comes along. Dai says, I and disciple Jaku have just practiced a mystical power which is 1 step ascendant. It is not the same as the small ones of the small vehicle. Kyogen says, Chikan was in the wings. I was able to witness everything clearly. Dai says, Then, disciple, you must try to say something. Kyogen immediately goes to make and bring a cup of tea. Dai praises them, saying, The mystical powers and the wisdom of you 2 disciples are far superior to those of Shariputra and Modigliana. If we want to know the mystical power of Buddhists, we should learn in practice the words of Dai, because it is not the same as the small of the small. To perform this learning is called Buddhist learning, and learning other than this is not called Buddhist learning. It is the mystical power and the wisdom transmitted from rightful successor to rightful successor. Never learn the mystical powers of non-Buddhists and the two vehicles in India, or those studied by commentary teachers and the like. Now, when we study the mystical power of Dai, it is supreme. At the same time, there is a way of observing it which is one step ascendant. One step ascendant, with nothing above, it says. That is to say, from the time of lying down, there is a turning to lie facing the wall, there is a rising posture, there is a calling out of disciple Jaku, there is telling of a dream, and there is, after washing the face, a short while of sitting. In the case of Kyozen, similarly, there is lowering of the head to listen, and there is fetching a bowl of water and fetching a towel. And yet, Dai says, I and disciple Jaku have just practiced a mystical power, which is one step ascendant. We should learn this mystical power. Ancestral masters of the authentic transmission of the Buddha Dharma speak like this. Do not fail to discuss the telling of the dream and the washing of the face. Decide that they are the mystical power which is one step ascendant. He has said already, it is not the same as the small of the small. It cannot be the same as the small thoughts and small views of the small vehicle, and it must not be equated with the likes of bodhisattvas in the 10 sacred and the 3 clever stages. These all learn the small mystical powers and attain only the capacities of the small body. They do not arrive at the great mystical power of the Buddhist patriarchs. This is the mystical power of Buddha, and mystical power in the ascendant state of Buddha. Students of this mystical power should not be moved by demons and non-Buddhists. Sutra teachers and commentary teachers have never heard of this mystical power, and even if they heard, it will be hard for them to believe. The two vehicles, non-Buddhists, sutra teachers, commentary teachers and the like, learn the small mystical powers. Oh, sorry, it's late. They do not learn the great mystical power. Buddhas abide in and retain the great mystical power, and they transmit and receive the great mystical power. This is the mystical power of Buddha. Without the mystical power of Buddha, Kyozen could not fetch a bowl of water and fetch a towel. There could be no turning to lie facing the wall, and there could be, after washing the face, no short while of sitting. Through the influence of this great mystical power, small mystical powers also exist. The great mystical power entertains small mystical powers, but small mystical powers do not know the great mystical power. Small mystical powers are a hare swallowing the vast ocean and a poppy seed containing Sumeru. Sumeru is a mountain, of course. Again, there are the upper body emitting water, the lower body emitting fire, and such like. The 5 powers and the 6 powers also are small mystical powers. The 5 powers. It doesn't say what the 5 powers are. Moving on. The 6 powers are also. Their devotees have never seen the mystical power of Buddha, even in a dream. The reason the 5 powers and the 6 powers are called small mystical powers is that the 5 powers and the 6 powers are tainted by practice and experience, and they are confined to and cut off by time and space. They exist in life, but are not realized after the body. They belong to the self, but are beyond other people. They are realized in this land, but they are not realized in other lands. They are realized in unreality, but they are unable to be realized in real time. This great mystical power is not so. The teachings, practice, and experience of the Buddhas are realized as one in this mystical power. They are realized not only in the vicinity of Buddhas, they are realized also in the ascendant state of Buddha. The teaching and forms of mystically powerful Buddha are truly unthinkable. They are realized prior to the existent body. The realization is not connected with the three times. Without the mystical power of Buddha, the establishment of the mind, training, bodhi and nirvana of all the Buddhas could never be. That the present limitless ocean of Dharma worlds is constant and unchanging is entirely the mystical power of Buddha. It is not only that a hair swallows the vast ocean. A hair is maintaining and retaining the vast ocean. A hair is manifesting the vast ocean. A hair is vomiting the vast ocean. And a hair is using the vast ocean. When in a single hair there is swallowing and vomiting of the whole world of Dharma, do not study that. If the whole world of the Dharma is like that, then it is impossible for the whole world of Dharma to exist. A poppy seed containing Sumeru and such like are also like this. A poppy seed is vomiting Sumeru, and a poppy seed is manifesting the world of Dharma, the ocean of limitless storage. When a hair vomits the vast ocean and a poppy seed vomits the vast ocean, they spew up in a single moment of mind, and they spew up for 10,000 kalpas. Given that 10,000 kalpas in a single moment of mind similarly are spewed from hair and poppy seed, then from what are hair and poppy seed begotten? They are begotten just from the mystical power. And this begetting is itself the mystical power. So it is just that the mystical power gives birth to the mystical power. We should study that the three times have no occurrence or disappearance at all. Buddhas play in this mystical power alone. The layman, Ho-on, is the great person in the orders of patriarchs. He is not only learned in practice in the orders of both Kozai and Sekito, he has met with and encountered many genuine masters who possess the truth. On one occasion, he says, the mystical power and wondrous function, carrying water and lugging firewood. We must investigate this truth thoroughly. Carrying water means loading water and fetching it. There being our own work and self-motivation, and there being the work of others and the motivation of others, water is caused to be carried. This is just the state of mystically powerful Buddha. We can say that knowing is existence time, but the mystical power is just the mystical power. Even in a person's not knowing, the state of Dharma does not fade, and that state of Dharma does not die. Although the person does not know it, that state of Dharma is the Dharma itself. Although the person does not know that carrying water is the mystical power, the state of carrying water as mystical power does not regress. Lugging firewood means carrying wood for fuel, as for example the sixth patriarch did in former days. Although we neither recognize that 3,000 acts in the morning are the mystical power, or sense that 800 acts in the evening are the mystical power, in them the mystical power is realized. Truly, those who see and hear the mystical power and the wondrous function of the Buddha Tathagatas are able without fail to attain the truth. Therefore, the attainment of the truth of all the Buddhas has been accomplished, in every case through the force of this mystical power. So, we should study that whereas the present emitting water of the small vehicle is a small mystical power, carrying water is the great mystical power. Carrying water and lugging firewood has never yet been abandoned, and people have not neglected them. Therefore they have carried from the ancient past at the present, and what has been transmitted from here to others, without even an instant of regression or deviation, is the mystical power and the wondrous function. This is the great mystical power. It can never be the same as the small ones of the small. Great. We will leave Jinzu there, pick it up again tomorrow. Thank you for listening. I'm at a bit of an angle, aren't I? How have I done that? Oh, I don't know. Anyway, bye-bye.